I'm mostly confident that this will work. Let's top off relations with Pope Man. Portugal might be in Tunis. Yes. You're right. Granada has occupied Dharma. That is the entirety of the Portuguese army. So there's a chance we might actually be able to full occupy Portugal right now if he can't get it back quickly enough. Send just 2 troops to there. Do a little blitzkrieg occupation. I want to point this out because I think it's kind of impactful. Notice how I spread out these troops. And let's see how many of you can figure out why. I bet there's at least one of you in chat who can explain in definitive terms exactly why I spread the troops exactly like this. All right, yeah, Shiny has it. Simplest explanation is supply lines. That's exactly right. When you look at the reinforcement rate of an army, if you have enough manpower, you will recover 50% in this location because it is adjacent to a province that we own or control. When you look at the reinforcement rate here, we only reinforce at 25%. So if you send a 1 stack and it suffers 1% attrition, it may be fine, but if you have any kind of defensive attrition modifiers like winter or expensive terrain like arid or desert, then you need to send 2 troops because 2% attrition on a 1 stack that can only reinforce blah, 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 words. They won't reinforce fast enough. So you go 2, and that way they're guaranteed to get the siege status ticking right away and not have any chance whatsoever of missing a day of siege ticks. So as I advance, you'll see I went 1, 1, 1, 1, because these are all adjacent to land that I own. And I went 2, 2, 2, because these are not currently adjacent to an occupied province. However, now that that's occupied, I can pull 1 off from here. I can pull 1 off from here. Now that that one's occupied, we only need 1 here. You can see it'll immediately update to 50% reinforcement speed. If you really want to like micromanage this crap, then that's some of the behind the scenes thinking that's going on. We cannot get military access through, yeah, actually, Castile will totally give us access to allow us to go murder this guy. And if we get access, we can occupy Algarve and Beja as well. So for now, I'm going to just send a 1 stack there. Oh, actually, unfortunately, because Portugal has this occupied, I can't get there. That normally wouldn't be a problem, but he does have an occupied fort owned by an enemy right there. France is now the Curia controller. Excellent. Let's reinvest in trying to become the Curia controller ourselves. I'm going to cancel military access through Castile for now, just in case. I don't want Portugal to end up getting access because of me or something. If I don't need it, then there's no reason to keep it going. So we'll try to get the interior fort because, well, first off, it's level 2 fort level versus level 3 fort level. But more importantly, -2 from not blockaded equals a total of -5 versus just -2. That's why we're focusing on Evora rather than the capital. The capital is worth more, but if you had to choose between suffering 90 manpower per month in attrition base, because it requires 9,000 troops, versus 60 to 70 manpower per month base, and it's way easier. That's the logic behind why I'm going for that one. This is what happens when I don't play EU4 for months and then decide that I'm going to start playing again, is I go into explain all the nitty-gritty details mode. And the reason why we have a troop on his capital is to, number one, block him from hiring troops there, but also it affects his enthusiasm, occupied and besieged provinces. Even one troop will affect that. It doesn't really do anything right this second, but it just makes it so that I can get a more proper read on how quickly we can peace out. However, this is kind of risky because that troop could get stack wiped if there are rebels. Denmark inherited a dude. So this disaster isn't a real disaster as long as we don't go over 10% overextension again. We have trustworthy allies. Cool. Papal State has 0 reasons for knowledge sharing, but they already have it, obviously, because they're in Italy. France still has loans. France, why? Why do you still have loans, France? France has 1 loans left. He's 1 loans away from accepting knowledge sharing from us. Which is exciting, because he'll pay us mucho dólares for that knowledge. France has an income of 27 ducats, so we can have 10% of that. 2.7 ducats a month in gross income, which effectively translates into net income, because it doesn't come with any extra expenses. So Portugal is at 77 war score with Granada. If I were him, if I were Portugal, there's no chance in hell I'd still be in this war. I would have peaced out the second Asturias declared on me, because he's basically killing himself by staying at war with Granada. He's absolutely killing himself. All right, we have 47 war score. I will try to do the siege with my entire army, even though it's going to cost us a lot of manpower. You know what? No, I'm not going to bother. We'll leave 1 troop here just to keep occupied and besieged, and then we're just going to loot. There's his 12 stack. It's a bit risky to try to unsiege, or to siege Beja. I left the garrison pretty weak, so it's going to fall pretty fast. Because he could just overrun this army if I put it there. I think we're probably just going to want to peace out as soon as there's a chance that he could get the fort back. We'll keep driving his war exhaustion up, try to get him down to low enthusiasm if possible. And in case I wasn't clear, the reason why I care about low enthusiasm, it's because it affects the willingness to accept peace deals by a huge amount. I can win? Oh, I can definitely win, but I don't want to fight him. Okay, so here's logically why I don't want to do the battle. Yes, we could win, but we're sacrificing the next war for this war, right? If I do this fight, we're probably going to lose 5,000 to 7,000 troops. That's 5,000 to 7,000 manpower I could use in the next war with Aragon or Castile. So rather than fight him, I'm just going to wait until there's like a 7% chance he takes Evora back, allow his war exhaustion and enthusiasm, length of time, all these things to go away, and then as soon as there's any chance of him actually taking the fort back, then I'll just peace out and take all of his money. And I think I will chance 1k troop to just get these other 2 occupations. He's going to be pretty, motivated to get that fort back. We've conquered new states. We are going to save that one for later. And we're at 96.5% on the Civil War, so we can't afford to take any more overextension. I mean, we technically could take land in this. I'm thinking maybe we just take like 1 province so we can release Galicia. I only have 2 claims anyway. I don't want to pay any Diplo points. We're behind time on tech. I don't want to core anything because we're behind time on tech. So So I'm probably just going to take the 2 provinces I have claims on, and then we'll release Galicia as a subject. Why release Galicia? Okay, a couple reasons. Number 1, we have 96.5% progress towards civil war. The main cause that's going to cause this to actually fire is if we have more than 10% overextension. So we don't really have the capacity to take land and core it. If I take too much land, then civil war. However, if I conquer the land and then immediately release Galicia, I won't have overextension. Therefore, no civil war. Second is that subjects are overpowered as hell, and they're super great, and you should definitely have subjects all the time. Flory Worry would disagree with me, but think about it like this. I've explained this before, but again, if you've never heard this concept or never heard this argument, hopefully this will make a lot of sense to you. Let's say we conquer these 2 provinces and we keep them for ourselves. What will these 2 provinces do for us? What will we gain out of it? The autonomy is at 73% here. When we conquer it, it's going to still be at 73%. The autonomy here is at 36. When you conquer a province that you have a claim on, it gets set to 40% if it's less than 40%. If you conquer a province that you have no claim on, and the autonomy is less than 50%, it gets set to 50%. If it's higher than 50%, it gets set to whatever it is. So this land is going to be 40% autonomy. This land's going to be at 73. We're going to get like no income from it. Probably make basically what he's making, like nothing. We're going to get like no manpower out of it. No force limit out of it because the autonomy is too high. It's useless, basically. The land gives you nothing except for rebels, unrest, civil war. Lots of problems. Conversely, or alternatively, if we were to take this land and release Galicia, the autonomy gets set to 0% if you only have 1 province because this is capital. Capital is always 0% autonomy. So he immediately gets the benefit of the land. But every nation has certain innate benefits. If you look at your income, notice how it says taxation, base 1 ducat. Every nation, no matter how much development they have, always makes 1 ducat a month base tax income. So you could be a 111 province, and you still make a ducat per month, which is functionally equivalent to 12 base tax. Base tax is the amount of ducats you earn in an annual period. So if you have 3 base tax, you make 3 ducats over the course of a year. So if every nation has 12 phantom base tax because of this 1 base income, a subject effectively floors the autonomy to 0, gets 12 extra hidden base tax. On top of that, every nation has a minimum manpower recovery speed of 100. Do you think it's possible to gain 100 manpower per month from a 332 province at 73% autonomy and a 322 province at 40% autonomy? I'll spare you the expense. No. You cannot get 100 manpower per month from 2 provinces. No, vassals get 1 base income. Every nation gets 1 base income. It's very easy to check. Look. Well, taxation, it buries the 1.0 in there, but... So, 100 manpower per month. Argument number 1. 1 base tax income per month. Argument number 2. 0% autonomy. Argument number 4. Automatic, free, level 1 fort. This can be strategically used to create a subject whose capital is in defensive terrain, and even if it's just a level 1 fort, it still is a fort. So if you relieve a siege of that location, you're the defender. So for example, if I wanted to, I could just take A Coruña to guarantee that the new subject's capital is in forest or woods, which means there's a defensive fort there. 4 good reasons. 5th reason, free generals. They will typically field a general once they have 3 to 6 troops. It's an extra dice roll on having a decent general. Also, it's another nation that could potentially get the Champion of the Joust event. Your subjects can get the same event that you do, and they can take the decision to get a 100 tradition general. Exactly, that's another thing. And vassals are AI siege food. Argument number 6. If we're in another war, they're going to go after a level 1 undefended fort versus going for a level 3 fort once I get one in my capital. So they'll go siege down our subject instead of us, which compartmentalizes the war exhaustion and the, problems of being occupied. Tons and tons of good arguments for why you want subjects. So are mercs though? Yeah, there's another great argument. Argument number 7. You can sometimes tell your subjects to fabricate on provinces and they'll listen to you. Argument number 8. How much force limit do you think we would gain by owning 2 provinces? Well, it's easy to calculate. If this province was set to 40% autonomy, 7 development, base force limit is 0.1 per development, so 7 times 0.1 is 0.7 development, sorry, 0.7 force limit, but because of the 40% autonomy that it'll be at, it'll actually be times 0.6 of that, so we get 0.42 force limit from Akruna. Lugo is going to give us 8 times 0.1 times 0.267, so 0.21 force limit from that. So the total force limit we would gain by conquering those 2 provinces is 0.63. Subject nations have a base force limit of 3, but his autonomy gets set to 0. So he would have force limit of 3.8, and then he would have whatever he has here. So he would have 4 force limit versus our like 0.6. Do we need to continue? Argument number 9. The next war, you can use Reconquest, which is only 25% of the normal amount of aggressive expansion. Reconquesting existing cores for a nation is 25% versus 100% for a claim war. Argument number 10. You get 1 plus 10% of your vassal's force limit. So, because he has force limit of 4, roughly, we're going to get 1.4 force limit from him. We get more than twice as much force limit from this land with him being a subject than we would have force limit from it being our own land. And if that's not enough to convince you, then I will have to come up with some more ideas, because I'm running low. Okay, argument number like 12 or 13 or whatever the hell we're on. Subjects have different idea sets. They're much more likely to take ideas that are related to defense or conversion or whatever. So let's say we take offensive and influence and other stuff. Well, your subject's probably going to have religious and defensive and whatever, which means that they're going to have better fort defense versus you. So like if I own this land, my base defensiveness is 10% because of power projection. If they had ideas, they might have 25, 30%, which makes every siege take longer. Argument number 14 or something is you can give the subjects your occupations while you're in a war so that they pay for the forts instead of you. I'm currently paying 1 ducat a month to maintain the fort Ivivora. If I had an existing subject, I could have transferred this to him instantly after occupying it, and then he would foot the bill to pay for it. If he goes into debt or goes bankrupt, who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect me at all. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to him actually getting that back. We're at 13 enthusiasm. And he suffered a disease outbreak. Great, that buys us an extra month for length of war to go down. He's back up to high enthusiasm briefly, but war exhaustion's on the rise. Why is he on high? Portuguese military strength, relative army strength. Because he occupies this, we are able to threaten to unsiege it. This, I believe, does count for occupied and besieged provinces. See how we have negative 19? The most you can possibly get for occupied and besieged provinces is negative 40. And the way you do that is if every single province in a country that has a fort is being occupied or is in the process of being besieged, you will get maximum negative 40. So because there is a level 3 fort here and a level 2 fort here that he has occupied in another war, this counts. So, oh, he's assaulting. He got a wall breach, so he's assaulting. That's really unfortunate. We should just take the peace now if we can. That is worth... I can't take land in the war without... having a fort occupied in the area. So unfortunately, he's on high enthusiasm. I don't want to fight that army. I can only get 28 peace offer value right now. That's acceptable, though. So we'll take the one province, and then as much money as we can. Actually, let's take 10% less direct money, and instead take war ups, because that gives 2 prestige. 171 monies, 10 monies per year, 1 province that we can use to release a subject. Let's hope that he doesn't win that siege tomorrow, because he has to accept it tomorrow. Got it. That was pretty lucky for him getting that wall breach, otherwise we would have taken him to the cleaner. Alright, since we only took 1 province, it's actually less than 10% overextension, so it wouldn't cause issues with the civil war, but I still plan to release this nation. So with just 1 province, it's even more transparent, right? We get 0.2 force limit, 0.2 force limit, costs admin points to create it as a core, causes unrest, causes rebels. We make 0.03 ducats a month. We get 0 manpower. We have negative manpower efficiency here. The autonomy is at 75%. Blah, 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 blah. Now we get from our subject, as soon as the monthly tick happens and that updates, oh, hey, like argument number 15. I thought of another one. See how we get Galicia, land force limit 1.3. So instead of 0.2 from that province, we got 1.3 by having a subject. And again, looking at his nation, he gets 100 manpower per month. He can field a total of 3 troops. He could potentially get generals, etc. I had that argument already. No, there was one more that just came to mind. And now I've forgotten. Oh, right. Argument number like 15 is that every individual nation in the game gets a base number of merchants. Those merchants get base trade power. So if we look in the Sevilla node now that Galicia exists again, Galicia has trade power of 1.4 from the province of Lugo. We get more trade power because it's a 0% autonomy, but wait till next month once he's assigned his merchants. Then I can show you this argument number like 15. There's a lot of reasons. All right, a month has gone by. He's likely assigned his merchant. So we find Galicia. See how he's got merchant presence 2.0? So that's an extra 2 trade power. That's effectively the same thing as provincial trade power that I wouldn't have if I owned the land myself. So we get twice as much trade power from that one province as we would have, assuming we got the province down to 0% autonomy. But also, if you look in our tooltip, we're actually receiving 9.7. How are we getting 9.7? If he's only got 2.3 and 2, where's the extra come from? Well, that's because every single nation in the game gets main trade city in area plus 5. So not only do we get more than just the like 1 point whatever trade power it would have been, we get an extra 2 from the merchant and 5 because this is his main trade city. Whatever his main trading port is, everyone gets plus 5 there. Should we continue? There's so many more reasons. It's just ridiculous how many arguments there are for it. I think we're legitimately like 15 reasons for why. And we sell the institution now. Let's check. France still has that 1 loan, unfortunately. He's just got 1 loan. 0.02 loan admin rating means 1 loan. I did mention spreading out conquest between admin and diplo. I didn't mention it specifically, but yeah, that's a big argument for it. All right, let's go ahead and get our full cores complete. See if we can assign that to an estate that makes sense. We have the estuary there. Let's give that to the burghers. And these are probably best. 553, I'd rather give that to the clergy. They're very influential right now. They've got probably too much land at the moment, but... And since the clergy own this, I'm just going to raise autonomy here so we don't have to suppress rebels anymore. We can go back to drilling. Same thing here. The correct estates own the land, so the autonomy value doesn't matter. Besides, any force limit we're losing is being made up for by Galicia. So now instead of suppression, we can go drill. Not really having any issues. Let's get a fort started here. We didn't have to take any loans to do the institution, which is awesome. France is all about a war with Aragon. And how long do we have on the truce with Castile? July of 67. And July of 76 with Leon.